Caballeros y damas, gracias por su paciencia. Oh, by the way, this live stream will actually be in English if you are waiting and you saw the thumbnail and thought, wow, Seth's going full Spanish on this one. No, I am not. Just heads up. And it looks like we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Mining Market Signal. My name is Seth and you're watching Mine Your Biz. Make that subscribe button explode and then click the bell icon so you're notified when new media comes out. Your chat will be on screen at some point during our live stream, so do be on your best behavior. No, you don't have to send a super chat. No, you don't have to send some kind of a tip to the channel to have Senpai notice you or to have our moderator notice your comments. Big shout out to Firo, the Firo team, for sending me this cool Christmas-themed Firo shirt. Thank you so much, Ruben Yap, and the rest of the team for being such great community builders and for continuing to build during the last bear cycle. I'm looking forward to great things from the Firo team in the future. So, guys, it's not a sponsorship per se. Just, you know, that's who sent me a shirt today. I will, if you're a crypto project and you're making merch, send me some. I'll wear it on stream at some point. But definitely appreciate that. All right, guys, let's jump straight into the Fear and Greed Index. We got Bernie saying first, Jeff, AMA, and now Seth. I am blessed. Appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Definitely appreciate that. Let's jump straight into the Fear and Greed Index. I'm on the wrong tab there. Currently, Fear and Greed Index score is 29. That's right. So we are definitely in the territory of fear. We are not in greed at all. We're not in neutrality. We left that behind weeks ago. Take a look at the trend. We've been in net neutrality, or rather net neutral in our sentiment for the last month, but really dipping into fear significant number of times. So check this out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dips down into either fear or bordering on extreme fear, right? Where we've gone past a score of 25 down approaching 0, right? Approaching 1. So just be aware, guys, these are what I consider a counter indicator. When the market says zig, I would prefer to zag. I don't want to do what just everybody else is doing, because then I'll get what everybody else is getting. And everybody, by the numbers, gets wrecked, right? Generally speaking, the average person gets wrecked on these markets. So don't be the average person. Guys, if you are just lurking right now, you might be wondering, hey, you had the Spanish language thumbnail, but the video is marked as English. So don't be confused. Don't be too upset, but do hit that thumbs up. Do share this link as well, guys. Clicking all the buttons, it counts for a lot. It does help the channel quite a bit, and it helps YouTube in terms of discovery to know that people might want to see this content. We're still on a massive growth push, guys. We're making our way towards 14,000 subscribers, which didn't even seem possible a few weeks ago. But here we are, almost there. And with your help, we can make it past 14, 15, 20,000 subscribers, and we can help more people learn about cryptocurrency fundamentals and new projects. So your support matters. It really helps. Thank you for that. All right, guys, jumping back into the Fear and Greed Index. Before I do, let me just let you know, this is not intended to be financial, legal, business, investing, or any other type of advice, not officially. You're always responsible for your own decisions. So you kind of have to act like it, guys. You have to do your own research after we have these chats. Just so you're aware, I have no illusions about that, and I don't want you to either, right? I'm really big on empowerment of the audience. So everything that we talk about in this episode is linked down below in the description of this video. I want you to always be able to do your own research and be able to fact check me. Say, hey, you know what? I think Seth got something wrong. And then please do come back and tell me. I love friendly discussion, and even friendly debate is totally fair game in my book. Name calling, being a jerk, a general a-hole, being somebody who's just toxic that nobody likes to be around. Obviously, that's a different story, right? That's a totally different issue. But if you want to have friendly disagreement, you are welcome here, right? I may not always agree with what you have to say, but I will fight to the death for your right to say it. That's just how we roll here on Mine Your Biz. All right, guys, that's the market sentiment right now. Again, without giving advice, I think it's a counter indicator. Everybody else is feeling fearful. We need to be making plans right now. But what are they fearful or feeling a strong way about? Here's some of the news. We got on Crypto Potato, an excellent article about how the Well, there's a retailer in Mexico by the name of Electra, and then another one, Nexon, right? Video game developer Nexon, they're also based in Mexico. That are accepting Bitcoin. Pretty darn cool. So I'm sorry, actually, an Asian game developer, Nexon, but they do operate in the Americas. So there's a presence there. Guys, we've got a massive influx of people who are watching. Again, I can only surmise that you're lurking. Please do click all the buttons, right? Click the buttons. Don't lurk. Become a member of the community. There are benefits. I think we might have to start doing a closed community streams as well. But we'll see about that in the future, guys. So pardon me, still got a bit of a nervous cough there. But the retail chain Electra has onboarded BitPay, right, as cryptocurrency, but they've gone farther than that. They say that their customers can apply for a 20% discount on the bill of whatever it is they're going to pay in their checkout, right, in their cart. I think that's a brilliant way of making sure that adoption actually happens. It's one thing to say that cryptocurrency is an option. It's another thing to give a significant discount because you know you're not going to be paying some of the merchant processing fees that you would with Visa, MasterCard, etc. Right? Like it's not that 2.5% or even 1.5% is that big a deal as far as fees go. But when you get into micropayments, when you get into smaller purchase amounts, when you get into developing nations, or when you get into developed nations like how Mexico is, right, the most developed areas, right, massive cities, massive sprawling metropolises, you still get this aversion to paying 2.5% to 3%, which can be the biggest damage of these merchant processors, these merchant payment processors. Wow, guys, I'm seeing a huge disconnect between the number of viewers we have and the number of likes I'm seeing on this live stream. Don't know what's going on there, but do me a solid. Hit that like, share this video, make a comment, leave a comment, say hello, make your presence known, guys. This is what it's all about, fostering community. But guys, as far as payment processors, 2.5% to 3% doesn't sound like very much until it is taken off of your bottom line all the time. So when vendors want to get their customer base, or when stores want to get their customer base accustomed to using cryptocurrencies so they decrease those fees over time, offering a discount up front is a big deal, right? And knowing bare minimum that you're going to be saving a percentage point or, a basis point all the way up to 3 basis points on your credit card processing gives you a built-in incentive. You can offer that savings directly to your customers. But I think that Electra is going about it the right way by trying to groom their customers to using cryptocurrencies and preferring cryptocurrencies because of this 20% potential available discount. This is going to help onboard their customers, I think, faster than almost anything else they could do. Imagine getting 20% off of every one of your Christmas gifts, right, for this week, or having been able to do that weeks ago for your Christmas celebrations or your holiday celebrations this week. It'd be a huge deal, right? I mean, whatever. If your Christmas budget, use simple math, is $500, that's $100 back in your pocket. If it's $5,000, it's $1,000 back in your budget. It's huge, right? It's hard to overstate just how big a discount that is. So huge shout out to Electra for doing that. Den T is saying, all right. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Cool. Is talking about some stuff from Binance. Awesome. Love to see additional thoughts and opinions in the comment section, guys. Do keep them coming. Definitely appreciate that. But let's take a look at the rest of our news cycle here, guys. It's not just Electra, it's also Nexon, right? The gaming studio from Asia that has a presence in North America that's accepting it through BitPay. Now, BitPay does have fees, right? They're not entirely free to use for retailers, but it is the simplest way to get most businesses onboarded with crypto payments. So if you're in a position where you may be wondering how to get local businesses onboarded with crypto payments, you might start there. I have no incentive for referring them. There's no kickback or whatever, no financial incentive for me referring BitPay, but they are just really easy and can be rolled into the point of sale. So if you're looking to try to bring get local businesses onboarded, right? Whatever local pubs or grills or nightlife that you frequent, really talk to them about this and show them some of these data points. If it's happening in Mexico with a retailer like Electra, it can happen at the local level where you live. Shout out also to Naomi Brockwell, highlighting a couple of major cities around the world that are much more crypto friendly than the average. She mentioned New Hampshire as a state and mentioned some areas of Australia, which you couldn't pay me enough to go live in Australia right now for various other reasons, crypto aside, right? But the point is, The point is, you can onboard local businesses and the local municipality where you live. You can make a difference. So don't give up. Keep on pushing to try to make that difference. But let's take a look at who these guys are. Electra, they have a website at electra.com.mx, and that's linked down in the description of this video as well. Looks a little bit like, say, an overstock.com or an amazon.com or maybe like an AliExpress, but for Mexico, it's very much targeted. There is no additional language option here. See, this is very much targeted just to Mexican citizens. And it's really well laid out, right? Or almost like a Target, right? Almost like Target for Mexico. Target online, you might say, target.com. But you got all these different categories that are clearly for Christmas shopping and not very dissimilar from how we might be shopping in any other area of the world, right? But you see the pricing as well listed in Mexican pesos as opposed to US dollars or any other denomination. But then you can go all the way through to the point of sale and pay with cryptocurrencies. Pretty brilliant, guys. Absolutely brilliant. And I want to see more of this adopted throughout the world. In additional news, guys, something that's affecting the sentiment is Argentina's former president, Macri, sees Ethereum as one of the most innovative technologies of the 21st century. So on the one hand, you've got these Mexican retailers who are kind of leaning towards preferring Bitcoin or maybe even Dogecoin or Litecoin as payment systems, right? Using BitPay and other point of sale crypto payment solutions. But then in Argentina, you got the former president saying, no, we see a lot of promise in Ethereum right now, which for those of us who are GPU miners, I think we get it, right? Like, okay, cool, Ethereum. It's there's something we can participate in more readily, more easily, maybe not as hard a currency as Bitcoin is, certainly, but sure, it's programmable money. It's a programmable network. And that's where they're going with comments like this. They mentioned that the former president had a meeting with Vitalik Buterin, right, and really was impressed by it, called it innovative, and that they continue to grow in their embracing of crypto. So likely because they're having some inflation problems there in their country. I mean, really, any country that has too small a market cap or too small a fiat supply is going to struggle that much more than the larger countries right now in the midst of global inflation and global problems with monetary supply and global problems with supply chain. So yeah, it's not surprising to hear the former president of Argentina say, yeah, we see promise in Ethereum. And maybe what they're referring to is the potential for a CBDC that's issued by the nation of Argentina and backed by their federal government. But yeah, they're all about it, all about that Ethereum life over in Argentina. So just wanted to bring that up as well. I think that the sentiment is going to start to flip more bullish as we see more of these articles play out into action taken by some of these countries, not just some of the retailers, but actually some of the ministries of finance in areas like Argentina. So keep a lookout for that, guys. Additionally, coming out of livebitcoinnews.com, we've got an article talking about how they think that crypto is boosting luxury spending all across America. This comes through Nick Marinoff, their author. But their first point here talking about how crypto may be limiting the wealth gap in the US. I don't know, maybe that's entirely possible. There could be some people that have tremendous paper gains with their cryptocurrency holdings. That's why we run our current cryptocurrency tracker, our portfolio tracker in this show in a later segment in the live stream, is because of how many people are getting into meme coins and various other tokens that, you know, maybe have marginal utility, but are sort of number go up scenarios where we've seen with projects like Saitama Inu, $1,000 could have translated into over $1 million in capital gains. So kind of a big deal if that describes the kinds of gains that you've been having or some of the gains that they're referring to here. But that's not really the experience of every single person, right? So I don't know if it is legitimately limiting the wealth gap in the United States. I don't know if it has that much social impact. Right, I think that might be a little bit of a logical leap. I think we'd have to be able to see how many active wallets there are and how they correspond to that sort of middle America group that disappeared after 2008. If you recall the financial crisis, the global financial crisis of 2008, as subprime mortgages came crashing down and, as the various financial institutions that were related to the subprime lending crisis of 2008 sort of had to pay the piper, and the US dollar suffered, and hiring froze, and unemployment rose to all new heights. It was a pretty messy time, a really, really messy time. There were a lot of people who were defined as middle class at that time who lost their life savings, or who lost their potential future, whose pensions were slashed by their employers, or whose 401k basically amounted to nothing because of the instability, relative instability of the investments inside of those 401ks and those other retirement accounts. It was a very scary time for anybody who doesn't remember firsthand, anybody who didn't live through that and have to try to muddle through some other way. It was a very scary time. People who thought they were making all the right choices suddenly had the rug pulled out from under them. And it's funny that now in the current environment, we talk about rug pulls as being something that's unique to cryptocurrency. Nah, man, 2008 was the original rug pull of the US dollar and the global economic infrastructure. And it inspired Satoshi to, well, at least in the white paper, it seemed to inspire Satoshi. Pardon me, seemed to inspire Satoshi to work on Bitcoin that much more, right? It seemed to be what really sparked ignited the fire that turned into Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So I don't know that I agree with this limiting the wealth gap, because I saw firsthand while in the workforce, the wealth gap kind of be driven that much greater, especially for people of a certain age. I'm not going to tell a sob story here, but there are a lot of people between the ages of their very late 30s into their mid 40s who were just basically like totally body slammed by the economic meltdown of 2008, and kind of forcefully ejected out of that social stratification, right? That social strata of middle class. There was a big reckoning at that time because of the subprime lending crisis. So for them to make that big a claim, I kind of feel like that's a very, very bold claim, and it's hard for them to quantify, but I do see what they mean, right? People starting to come back into wealth who were in that general category of sort of middle class. But they go on to say that the way that they're measuring that is by spending on luxury items, right? So pent-up demand. They say, beyond the natural impact of the pent-up demand, we flag the significant surge in asset values from stock market to real estate to contemporary art, and above all, the significant impact from cryptocurrency wealth, which has increased the total of cash transactions again. Our conversations would indicate that as much as 20 to 25% of the last 12 months sales may have been generated by this phenomenon. So there you have it. It could be that people are more interested in bearer assets, or more interested in experiencing a more plush life because they saw how quickly the rug can get pulled, and they're seeing how quickly the Fed is printing money. We are on a fast track to serious financial problems again if some of the financial solutions that are being proposed, at least here in the United States and in other developed nations, if some of those financial solutions continue along their logical path, their logical trajectory, we could have a serious problem. We could have a very serious problem. So yeah, I think I understand why some people may be buying with that kind of low time preference. And I realize it's not like, strictly speaking, it's I don't need it to sound like having anti-Bitcoiner sentiment or whatever. I really don't. Or like I'm upset or whatever based on seeing articles like this, because I'm not upset at all, but I do doubt a little bit of it. Guys, tell me what you think as far as there being a bit of a kernel of truth to this article. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Do you think that maybe a little bit of this is wishful thinking, or do you think that cryptocurrency actually is generating more wealth? Do you think that it's helping more people to escape what was kind of I don't know, that pushing that downward push of the last economic downturn? And are you seeing it help them level up? Because I don't know that I'm seeing it in the same way, but maybe I'm missing something. I would love for you guys to give me your feedback there. Tell me, and of course, obviously give me a thumbs up if you agree with any of this content, or you'd like me to cover more like it. Got Kyle Rossa in the chat saying, spread the holiday cheer with a like. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Guys, last bit of news articles that we're going to cover today. is from dailyhodl.com, and they are basically reposting a video by Brian Cowan. I didn't link directly to the video, but I did link to the article, which has it embedded. So if you feel the need to go all the way through this, the attribution, then please do, guys. That's why I leave the sources for you in the description of these videos. But Benjamin Cowan says that into 2022, he's been seeing a bit of a flip-flop, right? A range that is roughly a 2x window, a bit like how we saw way back in 2016, where Ethereum was flip-flopping between $8 and $16. Now it's been hovering between $2,000 to $4,000 throughout most of 2021. And he's saying that the likely next move, right, the next run up into the next range for Ethereum could be somewhere, a target of somewhere in the 5 figures, could be $10,000, could be as high as $20,000, or it could be a range where it's kind of bouncing in between that channel of $10,000 to $20,000 for a short time, right? We could have that volatility where it pops up and then immediately comes back down into that range. You tell me what you think in the comment section down below. Is Brian on track? I've heard some people say, yeah, for sure, I want to see $20,000 Ethereum in 2022. I've seen others say, yeah, I think $10,000 Ethereum is basically programmed. A bit like how we presumed that due to the stock to flow model, $100,000 Bitcoin was basically programmed. I'm not sure if I totally agree. Guys, we saw that the $100,000 target for Bitcoin by the end of November, even though it was supposed to be programmed, it didn't quite play out that way. And this is not me casting doubt on Plan B's ability, right, or 100 trillion on crypto Twitter. This is not me casting doubt on Plan B's ability as a technical analyst. I think that he's done quite well. And the previous 3 months, I mean, this guy's strike rate was phenomenal. He wasn't out there deleting tweets that didn't conform to what the market did. He was actually making calls that played out. So I don't think it's that this guy lacks talent or ability in terms of technical analysis, but I do think that there's more manipulation in this market than we've ever seen before, and that played out with Bitcoin. Since it played out with Bitcoin, I'm inclined to believe it's going to play out with Ethereum as well. And I mean, you guys tell me if you think I'm off base here, but we saw Bitcoin, which was supposed to cross an additional order of magnitude barrier, right? It was supposed to go from 5 figures to 6 figures in this bull run because of the stock to flow model. We've seen this before, right? After a halving, we see that it jumps up an order of magnitude. Just add a 0. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the prefix is, a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or a 5 or whatever, but we have seen in the past that it goes up in order of magnitude, and that stopped. That pattern totally broke down. It just didn't happen. And I think because of the interference from major institutions. How much easier will it be for major institutions to come in and sop up liquidity on Ethereum, which will be A, moving to proof of stake at that time, B, during a time of massive money printing by the Fed here in the United States and possibly by other national banks and international banks and central banks around the world, and C, with a platform that allows for CBDC creation on network. You see where I'm going with that? When you got permissionless DEXs that allow a nation state or a nation state level actor to mint their own CBDC that they can then just declare has backing. Like if the United States decided right now that their next minting of US dollars was going to take place on Ethereum, they said, well, no, this is literally USD coin. No, we own USD. Its ticker symbol is USD. And we're going to mint this as a CBDC on Ethereum. We have decided that we're going to mint $1.2 trillion worth on Ethereum. They could do it. They're a sovereign nation. And it would have just as much backing as the current digital version that they're making within the Fed, right? Issuing that same $1.2 trillion or whatever the next stimulus is going to be, whatever the next, money printing measure is going to be. If they just decided overnight, yeah, we're going to do that on Ethereum, layer 1, and then we're going to let it bridge over to other networks so we have lower transaction speeds. Like, we'll just say, for argument's sake, they decided to do that on Matic, right, on Polygon, because they can, right? It's fast and cheap. What would we even do? What would we even do? How could we even say no to that? Nobody can, right? It's the exact same current scenario that's playing out with the Treasury and the Fed, but then translated over to cryptocurrency networks like Ethereum, which make it permissionless and possible. I don't think we're ready to have that conversation, guys. I don't think we are. Not really. Because if the U.S., are they very likely to do it? No, they're not very likely to do it. The point is, they could. They have every right to, right? Legally. It may not be moral. It may not be correct. It may not be right. But legally, they've got every right to do that. You know? They've got every right to issue a CBDC, put it on Ethereum, and then on a DEX, buy up every single available bit of liquidity that Ethereum has to offer. And then voila, the US government, or at least the Fed, now owns a majority stake in the network and can basically dominate the decision-making of every validator on Ethereum. Whew. Such an absolute like tornado of little turds, you know? I'm trying my best to use my good language, guys. It's Sunday, so you know, gotta keep it holy, or try anyway. I'm just not happy with that potential outcome. I'm not happy about it at all. So we've got some great comments coming in from the chat, guys. Let me go ahead and put your chat up on screen. It's not a bad image either. So let's keep that up as we chat. Giant red rings emanating red glow of death. We got Kyle Rosa following up, says, wishful since low percentage of population is into crypto. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't think that the wealth gap is going to be closed by that. So I think JM is spot on, or Kyle is spot on with that comment. MJ says, crypto has a lower barrier of entry. Bernie says, I think the meme coins ruined the $100,000 Bitcoin. You know, that could be. It could be that a bit of liquidity was pulled up by meme coins like Doge, maybe. But I don't know. I don't know if the market cap of Doge really tells that full story. I think we fell short of a target where we could pin the blame on Dogecoin directly, because there's also a bit of a problem with, you know, fully diluted market cap as a figure versus the amount of money that can, or like the amount of US dollar equivalent value that could be pulled out of a network at a given time. I don't think it accounts for the full story. Doge, maybe Shiba Inu plus Doge, Shiba Inu plus Floki, and all the others. Maybe you're starting to approach the amount that could take a dent out of Bitcoin. But I think we're looking at somewhere along the lines of $500 billion, US dollars, real dollars that people have actually put into the system that would need to be that would need to have real weight, right, and consequence for being moved from one side of the cryptocurrency ecosystem to another. So I don't know, man. I appreciate that you bring that up, though. I mean, it is a great point that yeah, the meme coins have likely affected it, but I wonder to what extent, right? Like I don't know. I don't pretend to have that kind of insight either, guys. Like really, like so I do appreciate all the feedback, all the perspectives there. Let's see. Bernie says, yep, again, think the meme coins did that. Ravenboy Crypto says, show some love. Hit the like button. Appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much. The likes do help. Thank you for hitting that like button. And thank you, obviously, if you are not subscribed, for being subscribed. And you know what's crazy? Even though it seems like I'm always shilling the channel, it actually helps. Since I started doing that multiple times per video, the channel has grown by leaps and bounds, we'll say hundreds of new subs that would not have normally gone in. Let's see. So JM says, ETH lives around 10% Bitcoin and always will. So why does it need to be on a blockchain? Hey, valid question. That is a valid question. Why does Ethereum need to live on a blockchain? I don't know. I think it's primarily as a utility token, but I have some interesting views on that as well. Some people think it's fine as a speculative asset. You should absolutely hold it. But if it's a utility token and it powers the fee structure for sending other tokens on top of a network, I think it could be vastly revamped to help focus on it being used for utility and not as a store of value, and not in any way like ultrasound money. It's not ultrasound money. It's just not. I think we get into the weeds, we get into problems when we try to compare it directly to Bitcoin, and I think that's going to continue to cause problems, realistically. Let's see. We got JM also says, so why does he know on blockchain? Ravenboy Crypto says there's too much transparency on Ethereum. I don't think the US wants their dirty draws out there. That's funny. Yeah, man. I wouldn't want to put them out there either if I was the US government. But there's more to it than that. Kyle Rosa says, be worse than the Tether FUD related. It would be worse than the Tether FUD related to Bitcoin. JM hard fork, and then Deadwood pops into the chat, says, good afternoon all from Mount St. Helens. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate that. Hope you are doing well also. Good buddy. So, yeah, I don't know that the U.S. actually cares about their dirty laundry being out there. Guys, hear me out. Here's a potential threat vector. So I'm going to pull it up again. We talk about this on a regular basis. I'm going to pull up a visual aid for your enjoyment. Tornado Cash, or tornado.cash. This is a prime mixer. I'm going to go ahead and launch the app so we can see exactly what that looks like. This is the primary big mixer on Ethereum. JMMJ says, hard fork, the US dollar. Haha, US dollar takeover. That's funny. So we're going to move from Polygon Network back over to Ethereum mainnet here on tornado.cash. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's like, hey, dummy, MetaMask is not making this work. All right. So, but here, when you're on Ethereum over on Tornado Cash, let me pop that text size up so it's a little bit easier for our viewers at home to see. You can use different denominations of Ethereum that you may want to mix, and it does put it not only within a giant liquidity pool. Oh, not only within a giant liquidity pool. And I'm going to change. I have the chat from the new stream popped in. It looks like the Deadwood is back. Yep, we are back where we left off. Go ahead and make sure you hit that like, that subscribe, and then turn on all notifications for new videos. Thanks for tuning back in, guys. Definitely appreciate that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I had a little bit of an issue there, guys, with the live stream. I made a bit of a change. I need to start doing actually start doing a bit of some updates to my system so that I have a couple of better back-end practices in place, there, guys. I apologize for that. A little bit of an issue there. Thanks for all those likes, guys. Definitely appreciate the likes coming in. Good and strong. Definitely nice to see that. But let me jump back into what we were looking at just a second ago. Guys, over here, your chat is back on screen for the new live stream. But this is tornado.cash. And you can see that tornado.cash is that it's got a really great user interface for Ethereum. It's got a really great user interface for several other networks right here. Just take a look at the networks that are available: XDAI, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, Arbitrum, Avalanche, and then Testnet as well, guys, with Gwirly on Ethereum. So you got all kinds of options for being able to mix different EVM style currencies. It's a really big deal, guys. I can't really, I can't overstate how important it is to take tools like this to heart. And here's the thing, because they're permissionless, if we do get the United States adopting some kind of a cryptocurrency or a CBDC, we do see that happening, then they have access to these tools as well. So in the event that there's a desire to use any kind of U.S. funds or any kind of like federal budget in some way that they don't want us to see, well, this exists, right? We live in a world where this already exists as a tool, as part of the infrastructure for their CBDC. Like right now, it's going to stay on Ethereum, right? And for Ethereum, when you look at the number of different tokens that can be deposited here, it's not just Ethereum. It's DAI, it's CDAI, USDC, and USDT, as well as wrapped Bitcoin. So you got all kinds of different options that can be run through this same mixer with not only a huge anonymity set right here. See that? Over 17,000 equal user deposits of that size right now. Or for one full ETH, over 32,000. For 10, right? 27,000. And for even denominations of 100, you got huge amounts of equal user deposits, right? So that's your current real-time anonymity set when it comes out the other end. But you also have ZK Snark enabled. ZK Snark enabled smart contracts that it's being run through before it pays out from that mixing pool. And it's decentralized. It's not controlled by a centralized entity, ergo it cannot be shut down by authorities. So this is not me like teaching people how to do anything naughty or wrong. This is me literally just pointing out what's possible. You know, like I didn't invent this. I didn't deploy these smart contracts that anyone knows of. But the point is they exist and anybody can use them, right? So that's available to the US government as well. Whether we want them to know about it or not, it's available, right? They can use it if they really want to. Totally a possibility for them to use that. But the point is, guys, it exists. We live in a world where that genie's out of the bottle and we can't stuff it back in. Whether we want to or not, we just can't do it. Not possible. So, yeah, taking a look at that just once again, guys, thanks for bringing your chat back in. Thank you for being willing to switch over to this other live stream. There's a little bit of an issue that I'm having with this workstation, and it's kind of bothering me, really. I'm still trying to do more upgrades. As you can see behind me with the set, I still have a little bit of wiggle in my camera. It's a little too closely associated with my desk, which is bothering me. Like I've got a lot of small fixes to do in the current live stream setup. So thank you for bearing with me while I try to work through some of those problems, guys. It really does mean a lot that you're here. Your support means so much. It really, really does. Thanks for being back over, though, guys. It looks like the Deadwood is here, Raven Boy Crypto, and Bernie as well, as well as JM. Because I didn't even think about them being able to use that. Good call. Yeah, guys, here's the thing. The code is open source. So everything that we have by way of privacy tech, they have by way of privacy tech. Not only do they have what we have, they are in many cases with three-letter organizations a couple steps ahead by feeding, in some cases, junk code into public repositories with pull requests. That can happen. There can be contributors like with the massive Ravencoin hack, the last massive Ravencoin hack that allowed people to mint assets and then sell them and then get away with millions of dollars worth of value for free. That was contributed by a developer that was acting in good faith up to that point. So there were months of good faith actions by the hackers that slow hacked Ravencoin. Totally possible with some of these environments as well, and with far higher incentive, guys. I laid out for in the last live stream, which I'm not going to link to. I'm going to take that one entirely down. Maybe I leave up part one. We'll see. But there's definitely incentive for the federal government to act nasty, right? That's their longest, that's the biggest play in their playbook, guys, is be nasty to people and take power wherever possible. Shout out to the Firo Project who sent me this cool t-shirt, right? It's sort of a Christmas themed t-shirt, kind of nice. It says Live Firo. Bunch of little trees. None of them are Christmas trees, but that's okay. And then little fires inside of homes. It's a nice gesture, guys. Thank you, projects that do send swag over, the merch over. It's a nice thing to see. But guys, yeah, that's what I'm thinking as far as Tornado Cash goes, is that it's a tool that's available. So imagine the US government just saying, yep, we're going to issue our own CBDC. It's just called USD, like literally ticker symbol USD, and it just shows up on this list. Bada boom. Or it doesn't show up on this list because they don't need it to show up on this list because they can make their own liquidity pools from within their own organization. So there is no public front end for them to use this mixer because the ZK snark enabled smart contracts already exist. They can just decide like, okay, between the IRS, the FBI, and the CIA, we've got enough liquidity in seized assets or in this CBDC that we'll just do our own mixing. We'll make our own mixing pools, and then we have enough wallets that we generate procedurally, like using HD wallet technology, enough wallets that we can set up, 10,000 different wallets and create our own little ZK snark shell game. They're totally capable of it, guys. It's possible. Benjamin Rollins says, smash that like button. Appreciate that, guys. Definitely appreciate that. Let's see. Yeah. What? Okay. Yeah. The Deadwood is leaving some comments that, yes, are relevant, guys. Here's the thing. Normally I'm neurotic about certain things. And this particular workstation, I don't have a package set up that I like, for certain kinds of tools. And it's bothering me. It's really starting to bother me because on all my other systems, I've got that fully automated. So frustrating. Anyway, guys. Yeah, JM says, wonder how that scenario affects seizures of crypto when auctioned off. Yeah, the Deadwood, I know, it's great. We always think we're so smart until, one mistake, and it happens to literally everybody. Omar Bam, right? Crypto's News. He got hacked for like a ton of his Ethereum and for his, I think his cryptosnews.eth. ENS registration. Like it happens, guys. If you let your guard down just a little bit, it can totally happen. So thankfully, I don't have those kinds of problems. Like I have backups of backups there, and make sure that I can't easily let go of cryptocurrency. So yeah, but I have had a little bit of an issue with a couple of OPSEC things that just bother me. Gotta stay vigilant, guys. All right, so seizures of crypto when auctioned off. I don't know, man. That's a tough one. That's a really tough one. So JM, if they went with some kind of a CBDC and they wanted to try to seize that, then they might have to keep certain wallets totally locked, right? So I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not totally sure. But Well, here we are back on Tornado.cash, though, guys. Most people just don't pay attention to how relevant a tool this is. And they think, oh, the fees on Ethereum are too darn high. That may be true, but look at how much anonymity there is on Ethereum. For all practical purposes, more Ethereum has been made private through this protocol than has ever even been transacted on Zcash. I'm just going to say, guys, I'm not even going to be freaking nice about it anymore. Zcash makes no sense to me. It's just as private because it's conditionally private. But here you have Tornado Cash moving more value through a ZK Snark enabled smart contract than even on transparent addresses has ever been pushed through the Zcash network. I don't get it. Somebody make it make sense. I don't understand. So I'm not calling Ethereum perfect. I laid out in the last live stream how there could be a huge threat vector, right? A huge attack surface by way of going to proof of stake, and then the US government just deciding, we're just going to do a pilot program. We didn't even need, $1.2 trillion on chain. We only want $500 billion on chain. So like very tidily matching roughly the current market cap of Ethereum. They could do that. With the push of a button, right? The stroke of a pen, they can just decide we want that much more US dollar value in our current system. And we want to try out cryptocurrency, right? We want to try it as a crypto, not as our own traditional ledger system. If they had a problem with that, right? If they had to write off, say, $200 billion or $300 billion worth of a CBDC, that they said, oh, well, that was a failure, it was a problem, but now it exists in the wild and it's governed by a smart contract that we're struggling to deal with because somehow there's a problem with it. No big deal, right? They've astroturfed that amount of money before in the past, like tens of billions of dollars just going missing. They've done it. They've written it off. So yeah, yeah. Hey, Deadwood, I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, guys, so yeah, I think that there's a little bit of an issue with moving to proof of stake. I have not been a big fan of Ethereum moving to proof of stake because of that. If the US government just decided to, or specifically the Fed, the Treasury, just decided like, hey, we just want to have X hundreds of billions of dollars in a cryptocurrency that we control the smart contract of, that the IRS controls some aspect of the smart contract. Or even if it requires due process, right? Maybe there's some side of the judicial system that is actually the arbiter and the controller of the smart contract. And it's not the IRS. It's not the executive branch at all, right? But it is maybe the legislative, or not the legislative branch as well, but the judicial branch, where the judicial branch just like says, nope, you got to go through a system of courts and there is due process and we will document before we go and freeze somebody's wallet or whatever. We'll see how long it takes before something like that could be abused. I don't think it would take long at all. But I do see that there's a huge risk of the US government being able to print enough of a CBDC that if it felt like owning any network that is governed permissionlessly through DEXs by buying up all the available liquidity and then being able to control validator nodes with their votes, it's a very credible threat. It's just one of only a few credible threats from government to be able to control cryptocurrencies. How likely it is, man, I don't know, but it's possible. So I'm going to stop harping on that, but I think it's definitely possible. Alrighty, guys, we go back to the screen here and just say that was kind of like my little rant. But yeah, I don't know that I agree with Ben Cowan's analysis of $10,000 Ethereum being a foregone conclusion. I think that $10,000 Ethereum would require us to see $100,000 Bitcoin first, right? If we see $100,000 Bitcoin, maybe it's prolonged. Maybe it does still happen at some point in this bull run, but it didn't happen the end of November as predicted by Plan B. So I don't think that we're on track to see $10,000 Ethereum at the time that everybody else thought it would happen. Now, all of those price targets are going to be delayed by however long it takes. 2 months, 3 months, maybe not ever during this bull run. Maybe we correct and we sort of crawl sideways in a weird sort of limping zombie-like state with cryptocurrencies before we return back up into profitability. I don't know. It could just look very, very different. And I wouldn't be shocked to see it look very, very different. The Deadwood says, the reset is real and most assuredly it won't be great for us. Yeah, I agree, man. I really don't think it'll be very, very great for us. It's going to be problematic in a lot of ways on a lot of levels. But I see right here, especially with these price targets, they could be suppressed very, very easily. JM says, wouldn't people fork away from a government takeover? Well, they could potentially fork away from a government takeover. They could if they really wanted to, but that would require a governance vote. And you'd have to require either like not only a full forking away for the main chain of Ethereum, you would need to possibly roll back transactions as well. We had this problem with the DAO hack in 2016, leading to Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. That was a huge problem. I don't think that Ethereum can handle much more of that before it's just sort of abandoned for other alternatives. So yeah, it's a tough one. I think it's a really tough one. And then how many times are you willing to fork away from government controls, right? Like if it happens again, because the US government, it has the legal power to just mint whatever they want. Like they have minting power over fiat currencies. So if they choose like, okay, we're going to mint and this treasury is now 1-to-1 backed, right? This stable coin is now 1-to-1 backed. Kyle Rosa says, what, you're a two-partier? Yeah, no, I'm not a two-partier. I don't believe in the false dichotomy, but at the same time, like, dang, it's really hard to argue the fact that only two parties have dominated the world stage of government, as seen here in the United States. Like for decades, that's been the case. So, you know, I'm a realist too. It's just kind of an issue there. Gordon Murray's in the chat, says, hola amigos. Hey, thanks for joining me in the chat. We had some other news articles, guys. I'm just going to quickly review those so we can have them recorded on this one as well. Fear and Greed Index, guys, jumping back as a summary, we had a score of 29, and it comes from a couple of things. Electra and Nexon adding payments. Electra is kind of like we'll call it the Target.com, or maybe the AliExpress of Mexico. They're adding BitPay. Same with Nexon Gaming. Argentina is looking at Ethereum, I think because of the programmable money aspect. And that's what kind of informs my rant right now, talking about the possibility of the US government asking the Fed to print a limited run of US dollars to back a state-sponsored CBDC. And if they did that permissionlessly on dexes like Uniswap and others, they could very easily sop up all of the available supply of Ethereum before it goes through the beacon chain merge, and that would position them to control the validator network through their vote, because they would own so much of the available supply. It could be a problem, right? So they could vote to censor transactions. They could vote to roll back the chain. They could vote for whatever new measure they think is appropriate. They can have agents provocateur in the open source space suggesting pull requests that go into Ethereum or ingratiating themselves to the Ethereum core developer group. And then with their voting power, vote some of those early suggestions into the code base via EIPs and other and other measures that just look organic, but are actually manipulated behind the scenes. I see a few huge problems with proof of stake and the potential with the current money printing program of the United States that for timing to lead to abuse, right? The crossover of that timing, the very convenient crossover of that timing between money printing of the Fed and a switchover to proof of stake for Ethereum. Is it definitely going to happen? Of course not. And is it, is it a long shot? Probably. But is it possible? Totally. And would it require perfectly competent people to execute it? No, it wouldn't even require perfectly competent people to execute it. It could be done by, knuckle draggers. Yeah, it wouldn't have to be a very, very elite group to be able to coordinate this. There was another news article that we covered very, very briefly, guys, about crypto boosting luxury spending. They contended that they thought that the wealth gap in the US was decreasing. I don't think that's totally the case. I don't think that's the full story. And then the Daily Hodl talking about Ben Cowan's price target for Ethereum being $10,000 to $20,000 potentially. I disagree with that as well. I think we've seen too much interference with Bitcoin, and we're going to see interference with Ethereum reaching its new all-time high as well. I don't see that. $6,000 Ethereum? Who knows? Maybe, because we saw $60,000 and $70,000 Bitcoin. Maybe we get a chance to see Ethereum or Ether achieve its final form for this bull run somewhere in that range of roughly 10% of what Bitcoin did. But really, really pushing past it? I don't know, man. I don't know. Gallo says, thanks for streaming on a Sunday, sir. Hey, I appreciate it. It's my pleasure, guys. I've got some additional Gem Hunter and other value-added content coming out as well. I want to do a privacy series. It's becoming increasingly apparent to me that there are people on crypto Twitter, right, that are taking little bites of some of my content, and even the MineYourBiz phone that I sell on the website, and then spinning it off into tiny little tweet threads and other content streams for themselves to look like authorities. And it's just funny to me, right? I've been running custom ROMs on my Android phone since 2011, right? So for the last 10 years, basically the second phone I ever got, the second Android phone I ever got, I was like, I'm already dissatisfied with the software on this, and I started hacking it. So like, I'm probably holding back on you guys in terms of the sort of like Linux / AOSP / kind of privacy hacker stuff, the simple stuff that's easy for all of us to do. So I guess I should be making more content along those lines as well. But yeah. But definitely appreciate the feedback, guys. Here we are on TX Street. Let me go over some market stuff really quickly because we have the opportunity to do so. Definitely appreciate you guys being here live. But here on TX Street, we see a massive backlog over on Ethereum. Let's go ahead and refresh that page so we get the latest info. It's finally running again, and I love having it back on the stream. But TX Street is a phenomenal tool for you to do some visualization of transactional throughput. If you want to show friends and family, for example, like this is kind of how a blockchain runs, kind of. It's not the full story, but it is sort of how a blockchain runs. You can see over here, visualization of the Bitcoin network. If we wanted to change this to, say, for example, Litecoin or to Monero, we could. So you could show them how some of your favorite blockchains run. Gallo Salome is asking, did you guys talk about the Grim Finance exploit yet? No, I did not. And now I kind of want to look it up. Gosh darn it. Thanks for the heads up. All right, so taking a look at a news aggregator. I'm going to try to find that right now. So go ahead and search Grim Finance. And oh my gosh, yeah, there it is. Hacked for 30 million in Phantom tokens. Going to add that to the lineup. We'll take a look at that right now. But pop that open. Over on Decrypt, let's see who wrote this one, Jeff Benson. And apparently, yeah, Grim Finance was hacked for $30 million in Phantom token. Oof. Guys, that's gonna leave a mark. I think we're gonna see that over in our tracker, portfolio tracker, very likely gonna take a hit on Phantom, but this may be a great opportunity if you are a Phantom believer to buy a programmed dip, right? Anytime there's a post-hack dip, if it's a project that has strong fundamentals, and this is just some kind of like, an exchange hack, you might be able to see a dip that if you have a strong conviction for that project, you want to buy. So we'll take a closer look at that. Thank you for the shout out, Gallo. That's amazing. Really appreciate that. Let's see. And JM is saying how to custom app, APK. Hey, I appreciate that. Yeah, we can do custom apps. We can do even just like gosh darn it. Why am I not thinking clearly? Made a number of custom apps for myself that are very easy to make using like Tasker, right? A simple, you don't have to be a programmer. You can use like Tasker to create your own custom APKs for Android that do all kinds of functions that are important to you or help you send certain texts. You can do like a dead man switch on your own phone if you needed to. All kinds of stuff you can build by yourself using low code or no code. And if you just know where to look, a couple of tutorials will get you set in the right spot or set in the right place or right direction. I'm a little tired, guys. Does it show? I'm a little upside down in my sleep schedule. But here we are, Grim Finance again, though, guys. Clearly, yeah. This DeFi protocol was hacked for $30 million on Saturday, yesterday, through an advanced attack. So they Let's see. They found the exploit in a vault contract, so all of the vaults and deposited funds are currently at risk. Yikes. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, so definitely, guys, exchange-related stuff, if you are not on the exchange, it's going to have some effect on price action, but we'll see exactly how much. Phantom Opera blockchain. Let's see. A reentrancy attack, an exploit that allows someone to fake additional deposits into a vault while an initial transaction is still going, thereby tricking the protocol. Oof. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, guys, on some level, this stuff is like, it's really disappointing, but when it's DeFi, to me also, I'm like, all right, we found a new way not to do DeFi. We needed to know this. This is important. If we never figured this out, then the next exchange that came along that wanted to do something similar to Grim Finance, they would be vulnerable to the same potential attack. Like, we need to get this stuff out of the way. You know, it has, like, they're growing pains. So on the one hand, is it theft or is it a bounty? You know, like, yes, somebody loses, so it's theft. I get it. I get it. I don't mean to be unfeeling at all. It sucks. But on the other hand, we need to see stuff break so we can make it better. We just do. Yankees in the chat saying, "Que pasa, amigo?" Hey, I'm talking about our neighbors to the south. And yes, I wasn't going to sing it. You know, México lindo y querido. Si muero lejos de ti, que digan que estoy dormido y que me traigan a ti. Que digan que estoy dormido y que me traigan a ti. I'm just going to leave it at that. Probably a little too much. But yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, hey, smoke them if you got them, right? Sing them if you got them. So that is an anthem that comes out of Mexico. And so that's actually where the thumbnail came from. So the idea was, like, instead of being México lindo y querido, it's crypto. Yeah, lindo y querido. So you get it. Yeah, you get it. I know you guys get it. You multinational culture having, pinky finger in the air sipping mofos. I know you guys. I see you. All right, guys. Hey, Galo says, rip, rest in peace, Vicente Fernandez, by the way. Yeah, right? Right? JM says, bravo. Hey, I appreciate that, guys. I appreciate that. I'm here all week. Thanks. Try the veal. It's great. So back over to our main event, guys. Grim Finance. These hacks happen. They're a necessary part of being involved in decentralized finance, unfortunately. And it's not the same as Mt. Gox, guys. Mt. Gox was thoroughly avoidable, and for its day, maybe a necessary phase of development. But that was a problem of centralization. We're now in decentralized territory. How do you structure smart contracts to lock up correctly? How do you structure vaults to safeguard people's crypto correctly when they're based on smart contracts? And you still give people the opportunity to hold their own keys, right? It's a very, very different thing. Bitcoin, unfortunately, doesn't have a very good smart contract layer that allows people to earn yield on their own Bitcoin while holding it themselves. I wish it did, but it doesn't. So yeah, we need to go through these growing pains so that in the future, we have some of the hardest cryptocurrencies offering yield. It's a big deal, guys. It's a big deal. So unfortunately, we got to crack a couple eggs to make this omelet. So Grim Finance, thank you for your sacrifice. Really. I feel bad for users that maybe feel like they've been burned by this. So we'll see. Grim shared an audit of its finance token and vault contracts from Solidity Finance. According to Solidity Finance's report, reentrancy guard is used in relevant locations to prevent reentrancy attacks, but clearly it didn't work. As of Sunday afternoon, all deposits into Grim Finance vaults remain paused to prevent further theft. How ironic that that's what they had to stop, was they had to stop the deposits of all things, because that's the nature of the attack vector. Pretty interesting though, guys. Pretty interesting. We don't normally think about that, but apparently, see, contacted and notified Circle, DAI, and AnySwap regarding the attacker addresses to potentially freeze any further fund transfers. Yeah, AnySwap. Good luck with that, guys. When you're talking about like decentralized protocols, and we talked about it before, decentralized protocols, you better be very, very fast. And I mean, like, you better get everything done that you wanted to get done in seconds, because within just a couple of block confirmations, right? Roughly 14 seconds each, couple of block confirmations, these guys could already be gone, especially when it's that sophisticated an attack. Even if they only manage to rinse, and launder, like whatever, 30% of the funds. Still a $10 million payday for a massive exploit. And again, I'm of the opinion that there's that the gray hats like this, we can call people like this gray hats. They're not fully black hats. In some cases, they may have earned that bounty, and again, it may sound unfeeling, but they helped us figure out what not to do. All right, guys, back over on TX Street. What do we got? Come on, TX Street. Don't be like that. Over on TX Street, we see that the current average median gas price is 76 gwei. Actually, some of the blocks that are lining up right now are looking like they're lining up at lower fees than that, 64 or 71. Lots of transactions being pushed through the current mempool, though, at over 75,000 at any given time for Ethereum. And over on Bitcoin, the mempool is still holding quite a few more than average, over 2,200 transactions. Current median fee on Bitcoin is about 39 cents, but on Ethereum, just to send Ether, you're looking at over $6.60, but for smart contracts that would let you send other tokens, you're looking at over $44. It's still pretty darn high, guys. It just is. It's just very, very expensive to send anything on Ethereum right now. Kind of a bummer. Ravenboy Crypto says, I could use 10 mil. Haha, LOL. Yeah, right? Who couldn't? And here's the thing. If you got those skills, obviously don't tell anybody, because then you're blown and, you're going to go to Guantanamo Bay. So I'm not endorsing that you ever do that. Ever. Don't ever hack a DeFi protocol like Grim Finance. Don't do it. All right, guys. Moving from TX Street over to our chart. We are on TradingView, taking a look at that downward channel that we've witnessed Bitcoin slide into, right? And shoots and ladders. It's kind of how it goes, but usually it's shoots and rockets, right? Like we slide down slowly and then we rocket up kind of parabolically. We're making a bit of a return here. The MACD, it seems to want to flip bullish. It looks like it is. Looking at the histogram right now, it's a tiny little sliver of green, but the histogram on the moving average convergence divergence is showing us a tiny bit of bullish relief from all the bearishness. That said, we have already got signs of a reversal right here. So I suspect that we're going to keep sliding down this channel. Guys, when we had the chopsticks converging into a descending triangle, we were trying to snap up somewhere close to right here, roughly 47,000, roughly was what we were trying to snap up. Now, maybe we will see that there's a bit of a reversal, and maybe that did start to mark the point at which we see a slow recovery. But you guys know I don't offer technical analysis. This is not something I do for hire. It's not something that I'm trained to do. I'm trying to learn a little more about it. But realistically, I like to look at sentiment and other broader kind of zoomed out market indicators more. This is just a way for me to take a look at a chart and know that at least I haven't missed some kind of glaring warning sign that the charts might give us. Right. So that's why I bring this up at all. Kyle Rosa says, be a white hat and hunt bounties. You could be a white hat and hunt bounties. You could also be a DAO contributor. That's totally true. There's no reason to go out and wreck different financial platforms like this. And I mean, the person that went ahead and committed this exploit, had they just told them, hey, we know there's a massive exploit and we want to help you patch it, want to help you fix it, who knows? Maybe they could have gotten away with a bounty of, something free and clear, and then also kind of earned better reputation among the developer community, right? So that's always possible. Cryptos Chain says, hit the likes for MineYourbiz. Thank you so much, Claudio. Cryptos Chain is here in the chat, guys. Another great YouTube creator, very focused on Polkadot ecosystem projects. He's my resource when I want to learn more about Polkadot stuff. So if you're curious about Polkadot ecosystem, you should definitely follow him. But appreciate that. Appreciate the support, man. Thank you. But here's our chart, guys. Looking like we're still basically in that same channel, though, and we still see that same downward trend. So I'm going to extend that channel, and we're going to extend our chopsticks. Guys, I don't think this move is quite done yet, and I think we need to pay attention to where it's going over the next several days to know whether or not we get out of this crazy downward this shoot. Maybe we do find a ladder soon, and maybe we're already seeing a reversal now, guys, but we could always dip back into this and keep bouncing downwards into this downward trend. So yeah, not out of the woods yet, guys. But again, like, this is not legal, financial, or business advice. They're just a couple of chopsticks on some dude's free trading view account. Imagine that. I'm using free tools to look at open source protocols that are about to govern financial policy. Wow. All right, guys, over on DeFi Llama, we've got currently Ethereum at 62%. 62% of DeFi dominance. Wow, that dropped significantly, just by measured as TVL. We've also got the rest of the lineup. Phantom is not doing its best. It is one of those that's in the red. Tron has dipped by 9% over the last 7 days, which is kind of a bummer, right? They were coming up with their entry into stables. Like, as stables were basically making the event. Yeah, they were basically making the network over on Tron for a while. Lots of people, for whatever reason, really latched on to stables on Tron. And that's still kind of the case. So people looking for yield on stables are still kind of doing that over on Tron. I didn't anticipate that happening, but here we are. And we've got a great comment coming in from Bernie saying, could be a fake out, then back in the trend lines. Yeah, potentially. Yeah, guys, back on that Bitcoin chart. I think that's always possible. Yeah, we might not actually be seeing a reversal here. So that's why I'm not going to move these lines just yet. It's just this trend has been so strong since we started that downward move. I don't see why I would change it. Like, the way that I look at these charts, I wouldn't change it right now. I'm not going to. But back on DeFi Llama, guys, let's take a look over here. Yep, 62%, roughly 62%, 62.7% for Ethereum. And by way of TVL, guys, it's still BSC and then Terra, right? And then Solana, right? That's actually displaced Solana by a significant margin, but Terra has come up very, very fast, and likely also because of its name, the name it's making it for itself in stables with UST. But when we go back over to protocols again, protocols, what has Polygon done in the meantime? Plenty, right? We were looking at this weeks ago when it was below 120 protocols. Then we saw it a few days ago crossing 130. Here it is at 136. It is just tearing through those relationships and building more partnerships, more and more protocols being onboarded. Now, some people say, like, that's everything. It's just the partnerships, or it's just the VC money. It's just the TVL. Nah, it's not any one of these things. But I think that of all of those measures, the one that speaks to me loudest is protocol participation, not just TVL, right? TVL is good, but TVL can be faked, right? TVL can be misleading when you have just one token that's overvalued or oversold, right? You have some problems there. With protocols, if they're protocols that anybody actually cares about, then there will be activity on these chains through those protocols. Looks like in the chat, Cryptos Chain is blessing us with some knowledge here, right? Some truth. He says, Tron is not going to last much longer, I think. Justin Sum has become a bit of a joke. Yikes. And then he says, but I do thank him for creating USDT, as that's cheap to transact between exchanges. LOL. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure, right? Like with Tron, like I don't see many people using it either, but at the same time, you got some gosh, isn't Wax technically, is Wax a fork of Tron, or is it a fork of oh my gosh, it's a fork of EOS. That's what Wax is. I thought it was a fork of Tron though. But yeah, I know it's crazy time to be involved in crypto, right? Like, yeah, wouldn't have seen this a couple years ago. Stefan is in the chat saying, really, people, only 19 likes, thumbs up, greetings. Hey, I appreciate that, guys. If you're also lurking and you have not already subscribed, make sure you make that button explode and click the bell icon so you're notified when new media comes out. It helps you, it helps me, it helps YouTube, it helps the noobs. Guys, think of the children. Think of the Bitcoin and crypto children that don't know any better. We can teach them. You can save them. Not all of them, but a few, right? So go ahead and hit that like and that subscribe button. Appreciate it. All right, guys, over on Ethereum, though, we've got that 62% dominance. Looks like, yeah, that other, wow, there's a big, huge category for other. But BSC is the second best right there. Cryptos Chain says Seth needs 100 plus likes minimum, at least. There we go. The Deadwood has oh, you're gonna pull and repack the wheel bearings on the old Forerunner in the snow. Oh my gosh. Okay. Have fun with that, man. Have fun with that. Wheel bearing removal is fun because you get to use a mallet. That's great. Greg Bell says, when game your biz, I was thinking a channel like yours for the play to earn would be useful. Dude, you are 100% right. I did intend to go live yesterday with, it wasn't going to be for play to earn. It was going to be for GTA Online. And we were going to do the GTA crypto story time where we just talk about the markets and talk about other stuff. But play to earn will be a lot more useful. You're totally right. I am looking into that. You know, with all that free time, all that free time for playing games, but I appreciate that vote of confidence. I will see if I can get that kind of scheduled into the lineup. But I think we probably have to multicast both between here and Twitch. What do you guys think? Let me know. Let me know. Would you watch Game Your Biz? Because I do like that a lot. I really do. But guys, looking at just protocols that are on board, we got Polygon in the number 3 spot. And they just invested, I think, another $250 million in ZK rollup tech that they're going to be adding to their tech stack. So there's so much that they do, guys. So much that they do that I think goes underreported and that people kind of like ignore because they want to get attached to the new hotness that has this really, really low price point so they can feel like an insider. And then as they see that layer 1 chain be adopted and scale, it gets wrecked because it can't push all the transactions through. It happened with Avalanche. It's happening with Solana repeatedly, right? Where it just gets shut down every so often because of the validator network getting fully overloaded. Polygon hasn't done that. It isn't like fully overloaded and then shut down forcefully by DDoS attacks and by having way too much throughput or fake volume. So just saying. Hey, Deadwood, thank you for leaving that stream running in the background. That does help too. Definitely appreciate it. All right, guys, back over to DeFi Llama. I'm not shocked by that. Arbitrum is rising in the rankings pretty fast, though, by way of protocols that are being adopted as well. And Solana is finally starting to come along as well. So looking forward to more happening there. All right, guys, looking at the 7-day change in TVL, though, it looks like Terra, that's part of why I think they've popped up in the rankings so fast, is that over the last 7 days, they've gone up by 35% in TVL. That helps inform us why we're seeing the changes. How is Mixin even listed here? Oh my gosh. Yeah, some of this doesn't make sense to me. Kronos, though, is a credible threat, guys. We do need to pay attention to networks like Kronos because they already have so much market share, so much mind share by way of the Crypto.com branding and advertising machine, right? That relationship between Crypto.com and UFC can't be understated. That relationship between Crypto.com and so many other sports, right, and so many other major venues can't be overstated, rather. So Kronos may actually stand a shot at being relevant over the next little while. The TVL is growing. The number of protocols on it is growing as well. And yeah, that's something just to be aware of. But I don't see it having as much steam as some of these others, right, with the massive protocol adoption. Guys, moving over to GPU mining profitability, let's move our cost basis to 14 cents per kilowatt hour. Why? Because that's what the average person actually pays. We're not actually paying 10 cents per kilowatt hour in most markets, definitely not if you're mining at home. You'd have to be in an industrial warehouse or at least in a commercial space, right, like getting an office building or something where you could have a room that you're just putting your mining rigs into, and then like don't tell the tenants, right? Like, hey, I'll heat this floor. Don't worry about it. How are you going to heat it? I'm just going to convert some electricity into heat. Don't worry about it. I said don't worry. But yeah, you'd have to have very, very good rates for power in most places. 14 cents per kilowatt hour, I think, is a better average. And that puts the 3090 at just over $6 of profit daily. So that's down. Radeon 7 also down in profit, but they're both still highest on Ethereum. And then the nearest neighbor as far as their leaderboard is Zero and Ergo, respectively, between those two cards, but still nowhere close to what Ethereum is mining on both those cards. The rest of the usual suspects, or the leaderboard suspects as far as coins to mine, would be Ethereum, Zero, Equilibria, still on the leaderboard. Flux, still on the leaderboard, especially for that 6900 XT. Firo, what's that? Oh, Firo. Hey, they made it on the leaderboard as well. Thank you again for that t-shirt, guys. It's so much fun to see cool stuff like this come in for the holidays. Very, very nice gift. Let's see. Flux, Firo, Flux, Zero, Ethereum Classic on your 2060 Super, Ethereum Classic on your 2070 Super, Ethereum Classic on your 2080 Super. What's going on with the 2000 series Supers, guys? I don't know. But clearly, they're super for Ethereum Classic, obviously. It's not as super as Ethereum is, though, so I still don't get it. Huge delta there between those two coins. But moving down the list, we got Swap for the 1060 6 gig, doing pretty well, but not as good as Ethereum. We've got Beam available for the R9 Fury, doing actually very temptingly well, right? Between Zero and Beam, I think we're going to see a much better market cap on Beam than we will on Zero. Let's just double check our GPU mining portfolio to make sure Zero is here. It should be. If it isn't, we should have added it. Yep, there it is with the current market cap of $30 million, and Beam farther up the list at $65 million. So realistically, you're seeing about the same amount of strength between the market caps anyway. It doesn't tell us the full story as far as 24-hour volume on these coins, but the point is that they're both mineable with that older card. So you do have, I think, greater kind of relative strength in Beam as far as there being a larger market cap for you to sell into if you had to, if the volume reflects, that higher market cap. Don't know if it does. But the 4 gig cards that are below that, we got Raven popping onto the list as well. So still profitable. So Bitsby tripping out there with his army of 474 gig cards that are now being, now taking the liquid dunk. Awesome. He's going to be killing it on Ravencoin for a while. So happy for him. Happy for the entire Bitsby tripping team there. Zano is showing up on the list for the 1050 Ti, and then Zero, not Zero, showing up for the Radeon R9 380, but only 4 cents per day. Nah, I think we're firmly out of the profitability zone for the R9 380 4 gig. Anybody who's been using this for mining is probably reconsidering at this point, if they weren't already before. So you hate to see it. You hate to see cards have to be retired like that. It's great seeing so many other cards that are still in the money, guys, that are still profitable. Cryptos Chain is asking, what about Grin, MineYourBiz? What about Grin? That's a great question. I think for profitability right now, it's not on a leaderboard. We can take a look at a couple of individual GPUs to see if it's still profitable at all. So let's go ahead and take as our benchmark. Gosh, we'll use, again, for top of the line, a single 3090. RTX 3090. Go ahead and hit calculate. We've already got 14 cents per kilowatt hour. We're using profitability for 7 days with a volume filter of over 1 Bitcoin daily, so we know it can be traded without having price impact, negative price impact. But it looks like Conflux, Zero, Flux. That's funny that Conflux didn't show up on the other leaderboard, but it showed NiceHash instead. But Conflux, Zero, Flux, Equilibria, we've seen these for a while, for many, many weeks. Zano, Ravencoin, Ergo, and Firo, they're all in the money to a small extent, not as high as Ethereum, right, for this particular card, just over $6 there. But they're all in the money. So if you had strong conviction about them and you had an RTX 3090 lying around, even Ion, right, and Quark Chain are in the money. If you had strong conviction, you could mine these profitably. Grin, not so much. You see down here, it's so far down on the leaderboard, it's only 32 cents per day. So it's mineable. It's mineable, but it's not in that money. So 32 cents versus on Ethereum being able to clear a full $6 per day on that same GPU profile. I don't know if you were doing it strictly for the purpose of earning in that asset. I would say use some other third-party service or mine to an exchange and then go ahead and flip into Grin. There are ways to do that, and there's enough liquidity out in the markets with Grin that you could mine in F and then take profits in Grin. Just my 2 cents. I know it sounds kind of mercenary. We want to secure these networks too, but there's more than one way to secure the network if you have that level of conviction, and sometimes it's just hodling for a while. You take some of the coin supply out of circulation. He says, Cryptos Chain says Spain is the worst country for mining right now. $350 per megawatt hour. Oh, that's killer. It says they've got some issues with Algeria, who's supplying the electricity. Yeah, it's tough. I think in some areas, so I knew a miner in Spain in 2018 that was trying to relocate because they had the same problem as profits were starting to decrease during altcoin season of the last bull run. And yeah, Spain is rough. It's very, very rough. So is Germany, frankly. So are a lot of Western EU states. It's just not a great place to set up shop. Eastern EU, right? The Eastern Europe. tends to be much better for that. Tends to be a lot less oversight for certain things. A lot of the mining hash rate that left China found its way over into Georgia and Kazakhstan, and will go into some other former Eastern Bloc countries as well over the coming months and years. And I think the same is going to happen with GPU mining as well. So that's a bummer, man. I'm sorry that it's so rough to mine in Spain right now. I'm sorry also, guys, for the intermittent coughing there. It's kind of like a weird tickle in my throat. So we'll get over it soon. Just that time of the year, guys. Just happens every year. But moving back into our portfolios, guys, this is where we have some real fun. And also, just a reminder, if you haven't, make that button explode. It's the best, because you're the best. Be subscribed to continue being the best in the comments section. Appreciate your guys' involvement. Appreciate you clicking all the buttons. It does count. Really does count for a lot. All right, moving back over to our GPU mining portfolio. Guys, in the GPU mining category, we're down over the last 24 hours, but our portfolio is still up. Flux, not as high as it was before, but with $1,000 in late May, you would still have over $8,700 in profit that you've cleared above your initial investment. Safecoin as well, a bit higher, just nowhere near what Flux is. Equilibria also has dipped way back down. I'm going to say also, just for the record, guys, Safecoin right there, the chart doesn't look very good. It looks perhaps a little manipulated. That kind of weird heartbeat pattern with tiny plateaus at top and bottom looks programmed, as though it is programmed bot activity. So not very happy to see that. I don't think that the leadership of that team would try to intentionally manipulate their coin, but there could be third parties that are interested in doing so. So guys, please do be mindful of that. Yeah, there's profit to be made on some of these coins, but please don't wreck the reputation of a given coin or network by doing automated wash trading. It does mess things up for everybody else. All right, guys, moving down the list. Got Polygon on this listing looking healthy again. So I think our entry point here was a little bit better. You can take your payouts from Ethermine in wrapped Ethereum on Polygon, and then you can trade directly for Polygon if you want to. Clearly, it was a slightly better bet to just hold on to the wrapped Ethereum. But yeah, just mentioning that. Our wrapped representations of Bitcoin are doing okay as well, but not as well as some of the other coins. Ryo Currency, Ravencoin, and Mimblewimble are all in the black, right? They're all profitable, barely. Beam is the first one in the red, and our biggest loser is, again, BitTube. BitTube looking very harshly manipulated right there. Entire market cap at just barely over $1 million. But even that market cap is not as weak as Swap right now, guys. It's just like, it's really sad to see some of these older projects struggle so much. Let's see. Bernie says, I think there's been some updates, upgrades to Safe Trade, so that's why the chart is showing that. You know, that would stand to reason. I know that I received an email from Safe Trade not long ago. I am registered there, guys. I do really love Safe Trade as a platform, the idea of it. Would love to see more liquidity go to Safe Trade. Would love to see it sort of become like the next trade ogre, if you will, based on their very, very sensible, common sense KYC rules there. I think it is common sense, guys. If you're trying to enforce KYC at lower than travel rule amounts, then you're doing it wrong. Really, you are. And I think that Safe Trade has a very common sense approach to it. But yeah, maybe there is something to it. I appreciate you calling that out, Bernie. Definitely appreciate that. All right, guys, Haven is $4.42, continuing to dip, but almost showing signs of recovery there over the last 36 hours or 72 hours or so right there. That's an interesting development, but I don't know if that's going to continue. We might continue to see it kind of hemorrhage just a bit, but we're looking at, a phenomenal value buy over on Haven. In my opinion, guys, the previous all-time high was so much higher. I want to open up this project page just alone so we take a look at its previous all-time high. So scrolling down the list on CoinGecko, we see that its previous all-time high, it's down 84% from its all-time high, right, of it being at $28.90. Now, we created this entry in the portfolio only about a month after it hit all-time high. So it was already starting to depress, but it didn't fully like deflate from its value until after we created our portfolio. Just bear in mind, this is historically what it did very, very well. And it's now valued at approaching $4. I think that it has the potential to maybe even return not only to its all-time high, but break through its all-time high yet again when it has that sort of like value restored into it. Don't ask me when. I'm not telling anybody they have to buy this, but I am saying that I do have pretty strong conviction in the roadmap and in the plan, mission, and vision of Haven. I think it's a cool project. You've had a lot of privacy advocates who are talking about it internationally, and they're talking about it in very realistic terms. Like this has the potential as a synthetic privacy-oriented asset creation platform to be a real threat to stablecoins and to be a real threat to Monero on some level. So when you have the Monero privacy tech, plus the ability to mint synthetic stablecoins on top and synthetic assets that are pegged to the value of gold and oil and other stuff, it's a pretty big deal. It really is. I think it's a very, very important and impactful technology. So just so you guys know, I'm not talking about it because I'm a shill or because it pumps my bags. I'm talking about it repeatedly because I think they've gone through a lot of adversity, and I think that they could be valued much higher than they currently are. So that's why it's on the portfolio, guys. But that's our GPU mining portfolio in a nutshell. Moving over to our hard drive mining portfolio, it over the last 24 hours is also down, and the total portfolio is down. Only storage is in the money. Chia is not making it back above that $100 resistance line, which you hate to see. It tried. It wasn't for lack of trying. Looks like almost 72 hours ago, it popped back up to close to that $100 resistance level and was soundly rejected, right? Pushed right back down again. So unfortunate for Chia hodlers, but there you have it. Looks like most of the hard drive mineable coins have just not been doing their best, right? They've been pushed pretty far down. But moving from hard drive mineable coins to CPU mineable coins, this has historically, in recent history, been a really, really strong side of the portfolio, and it's continuing to do so now. The last 24 hours, not great, but the whole portfolio is up quite nicely. Raptorium, $23,000 in that portfolio with a profit of over $22,000. Epic Cash falling a little farther behind and leaving Raptorium in the lead. Quantum Resistant Ledger is in the red. So is everything else. And Monero still our biggest loser at 11.7 cents. Moving over to ASIC mineable coins, I want to compare Monero to Dogecoin. Monero at 11.7 cents compares to Dogecoin at 17 cents. Okay, it looks like Dogecoin is now stronger again. The market cap, of course, is huge on Dogecoin as well, at $22 billion. Biggest loser, though, is Pirate Chain at $1.19. It's continued to lose value. Looks like it was even lower before. Right, we may have had that almost below $1 per R, right, per Pirate Chain coin. So let's just double check to see. Here we are on the 7-day chart. See what that dip exactly was. Yep, 79 cents. We did take a look at it, I think, on the day of that really heavy dip when we went live last. So huge, huge buying opportunity back then. I think we called it out as well. If you have conviction in the mission and vision of privacy, Pirate Chain might be something you're interested in, just so you know. Not paid to say that, guys. Not shilling at all. GMT token, Bitcoin, and Nervos Network, guys. Nervos Network coming in at a decent number 3. But only performing a little bit better than when we put the initial $1,000 in. Moving from ASICs to FPGAs. This is also where we've had really great success over on Cadena. With $1,000 in late May, you currently have over $16,000 profit. 0x Bitcoin also outperforming most of the ASIC mineable coins. How is this happening, guys? How is this happening? Well, in part because of that crazy trading pattern that has coming in. Looks like we might have 2 competing bots again like we did weeks ago, but it's just fun to watch. Last 24 hours, it's up 20%, so staying in that range, but it did lose 17% over the last 7 days. Biggest loser here is not Nervos Network, it's actually Digibyte. Right? We didn't add Nervos Network to this side, even though CKB is mineable via FPGAs. But yeah, it's Digibyte, our biggest loser here, down pretty bad. But from FPGAs, take a look at our smart contract platforms. We saw our DeFi Llama was showing a surge in dominance for Terra, and that's just continuing over here, guys. So we may be seeing that the TVL is kind of thrown off by the market cap of Terra Luna, right? So not any of the other smart contract, or not the rather tokens minted on top of it, UST, whatever else. but it could be that $27.5 billion that's locked up just in the Luna token itself, right? The Luna governance token itself for Terra. That's showing us that huge surge forward over on DeFi Llama in DeFi dominance for Terra. I strongly suspect that's the case. And so we've got to be careful about like breathing this in, you know? We want to buy the rumor, sell the news, but now it's, you know, TVL is not enough, right? It's not enough. Yeah. It's just not enough. I just don't, I'm not there yet, guys. I think it's a phenomenal project. I think the roadmap is good, but I just don't, I don't totally buy it that this is going to be how things settle in the near future. Avalanche in the number 2 spot, also going up tremendously over the last 7 days, 26% up. Solana coming back up again, kind of doing more of a recovery than really strong price discovery. Phantom is down, right? Over the last 7 days, it's down. Last 24 hours, kind of down. I suspect that hack might show us a little bit more downside and maybe give us a buying opportunity, but I don't know, right? Maybe not. You tell me what you think in the comment section, guys. Do you think that the Grim Finance hack that was mentioned by Gallo in our chat earlier on, do you think it's going to lead to a buying opportunity with Phantom? I suspect it might, but who knows, right? You tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. We got Wax also in the number 5 spot. As per usual, it's holding pretty steady, right? Again, in a sideways channel right there, a sideways range. And then Moon River, Harmony, and Cosmos. Cosmos, I still think, is one of the unsung heroes of the proof of stake smart contract scene. Had a couple of interesting dips and then back up. A lot of these are decorrelated from each other. They're decoupled from each other at the price action, except that Binance Coin also experienced a couple of really heavy dips. Not just this one that's shared across all of them, but a previous dip before. See with Cosmos, little dip there on Binance Coin. Interesting movements there. Ethereum, Polkadot as well. Also saw it. So interesting to see the correlation there. Polygon showing strength, guys. It's back above the acquisition price. I think we got a little something messed up between those two sides of the portfolio, but it's in the money. Internet Computer, our biggest loser. Moving over to our junk drawer. Yep, can't wait to see the junk drawer, guys. This is where we see all the funnest, the most fun, ridiculous meme coin stuff. Saitama Inu is back to punching faces. There's over $1 million of profit for that initial $1,000 investment that you may have put in at the end of May. So there you go. Saitama Inu back to just being dominant. Floki Inu also still over $100,000 profit if you put it 1,000 back at the end of May. UFO Gaming also doing really well. Luffy Gaming struggling over the last 7 days, but still rendering a $15,000 profit. Biggest loser here still the QuickSwap and then Dragon's Quick. Unfortunately, they are down a little bit more over the last 7 days, but we may be seeing a recovery very, very soon. I very, very much expect that. In part, I think some of this is the rumor that Uniswap was going to be adding Polygon support, which some would say like, oh, it's going to take business away from QuickSwap. I don't know, maybe not. There's definitely more than one way to provide value in these markets. And Uniswap is just one tool. So we'll see what happens there. Guys, that's our current portfolio lineup. Appreciate you guys being here with me live. I am going to call it a day. I'm a little bit tired, a little bit upside down. I'm struggling to keep some of my schedule correct as we move towards Christmas. Appreciate you hitting that thumbs up, leaving a comment, being supportive, sharing this video, guys. Really, your support means so much. It really does. Be subscribed if you're not, or if you're just watching this video for the first time, hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon. Guys, you really are the reason that I make this media. I love your face. Remember to stay private. Mind your biz. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. Be sure to check out mineyour.biz, where you can sign up for our email newsletter, where we're still ramping up content, but you will occasionally receive specials for flash sales and all kinds of other deals that we have going on the site. You can also check out our services page, where we offer consulting to projects that need it. You can pick up the Freedom Phone, which respects your privacy. You can pay for it in crypto and have it shipped to you anonymously, as well as getting merchandise that also is paid for with crypto. That's right, we practice what we preach, including, well, a Flux swag page. That's right. It's a dedicated page just for the team over at Flux Network, because we love them that much. Thanks for watching to the end. Thanks for being subscribed. You know I love your face. Be sure to stay private and mind your biz.